morning, Beaumont. As we're approaching Thanksgiving here in Beaumont, Texas, I'd like to remind you that Donald Trump has also announced plans to offer Americans that are not making high incomes $2,000 out of the administration's tariff revenues. We're talking about trillions of dollars that are currently coming in via tariffs. And he wrote on social media, this is a record investment in the United States, plants and factories going up all over the place. A dividend of at least $2,000 per person will be paid to everyone. Well, that'd mean married couples be getting $4,000, and I don't know about you, it wouldn't hurt my feelings any. Anyway, this proposal will likely need the support of Congress to pass. In July, Senator Josh Hawley introduced the American Worker Rebate Act, which aimed to use tariff revenue for tax rebates of at least $600 per adult and child, determined by income level. President Trump also floated the idea of giving Americans a $2,000 dividend funded by tariff revenue when speaking with One America News Network early in October, when he said the federal government could use some of that revenue to issue rebate checks. And of course, One America News, I want to remind you, used to be on your cable channel, used to be on DirecTV, but the big three got together and got them flushed because they could not stand a truthful, central news organization speaking truth when they were trying to tell lies about Donald Trump being a Russian spy. But anyway, the president's announcement came just days after the Supreme Court heard arguments about the legality of his global tariff agenda imposed earlier this year. Justices probed Trump's use of the International Emergency Economic Powers Act, which allows presidents to regulate imports in response to emergencies. This is via Article 1 of the Constitution, but they decided that the president does indeed have the authority to do that, like there's any doubt. Some of the justices seem skeptical that Donald Trump's use of the law to impose tariffs might be an issue, while others were more difficult to read, casting uncertainty over the eventual ruling and what it will mean to Donald Trump's tariff agenda. But the truth is, President Donald John Trump is anointed by God to be the president of the United States. And the Bible's very clear. Touch not God's anointed. So if you're standing in the way of Donald Trump getting something done, this ruling is likely to affect whether the administration can issue tariff revenue rebate checks in the first place, as Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent indicated in early September that some of the revenue may be needed to be returned if the Supreme Court upholds the lower court order that blocked a large portion of Donald Trump's tariffs. And these lower court orders, these are where these unelected, mostly appointed Marxist judges have decided that what the American people voted for doesn't count. They want to be the president, so they want to make international trade decisions, not the president of the United States, the guy who was elected to do it. Anyway, if that happened, we'd have to give a refund on about half the tariffs, which would be terrible for the Treasury. Because right now, just this year, using tariffs, they've paid off over $500 billion of U.S. debt. And the president hasn't even been president for a year yet. Just 4 minutes after Donald Trump posted about the $2,000 dividend payments, he seemingly acknowledged how the Supreme Court ruling could affect his rebate plan. He said, without tariffs, we have none of the following. I just posted truth. And of course, he posted it on Truth Social, which he owns. Donald Trump posted again almost an hour later, sharply criticizing the view that he does not have the authority as president to impose blanket tariffs on all U.S. trading partners. Keep in mind that all of our U.S. trading partners have been taking advantage of us with stupid, high, ridiculous tariffs for decades. And every American president, including the Republican ones, have accepted that as okay. Well, it's not okay. Donald Trump said, this is not what our founding fathers had in mind. This whole thing is ridiculous. Other countries tariff us. Why wouldn't we tariff them? The White House did not respond by publication time to the Epic Times for further clarification, but based upon the Treasury Department's recent statement on the federal government's receipts and outlays, the Trump administration has collected so far $195 billion in customs duties in the first 3 quarters of 2025, and that would easily allow 97.5 million people to receive a $2,000 dividend check. There were roughly 267 million adults in the United States legally in 2024, and an additional 95 million illegal aliens. That year, YouGov Profiles data indicated that roughly 18% of U.S. adults fell into the high income bracket. That is, they make more than $100,000 a year. I don't think that's really high income, particularly with Bidenomics still raging on. In spite of Bidenomics raging on, though, the cost of a Thanksgiving dinner has now been rolled back to what it was 10 years ago. So this is a good. The overall effective tariff rate for goods entering the United States is currently about 18%. That's the highest it's been since 1934, but it still ranks in the bottom 10% of tariffs being charged global-wide. So what Trump is doing is just equalizing things a little bit. Makes me pretty happy. And I don't know about you, but I could use the extra $2,000. Now, meanwhile, the American Psychological Association released a poll on November 6th that found that 6 out of 10 U.S. adults say that societal division is a significant source of stress in their life. The survey conducted online by the Harris Poll on behalf of the APA, American Psychological Association, 3,000 participants 18 and older found that 54% of U.S. adults reported feeling isolated from others, while 50% say they have lacked companionship often or some of the time. 62% reported societal division as a major source of stress in their life, with 61% of the group saying they felt isolated often or some of the time. Nearly 7 in 10, that is 69%, said they needed more emotional support from the past year than they got, which is an increase of 4 percentage points from 2024. The association noted that the growing gap between emotional needs and the support available shows that adults face serious challenges in their need for connection, and they're having a little trouble finding it. This could be because of the public school system, the fact that we've created all of these girl bosses out there that know they do not need a man at all, and so consequently they've become very successful on their own, but now they can't find partners. Well, why? Because that's not what men are looking for. In fact, most men now, I understand, are looking overseas to find a suitable marriage partner because there apparently are no American girls that really fall into that class. I feel very empathetic toward my younger grandsons who are looking for wives. Anyway, this year's findings show that people across the nation are not just feeling divided, they feel disconnected. Research tells us a sense of isolation and social fragmentation can have real consequences in our ability to manage stress and stay healthy. The APA noted that its data paints a troubling picture for U.S. adults stretched thin between societal division and personal disconnection. Cat ladies, roughly 60% of those who cited societal division as being a significant source of stress in their lives were more likely to lose patience with family members, and 53% said they struggled to plan for the future because they were just under too much stress. Those who report feeling high levels of loneliness were more likely also to struggle with their physical and mental well-being than those who are less lonely, the data showed. These symptoms include depression, sadness, nervousness, anxiousness, fatigue, and headaches. Evans said the research shows that the loneliness and isolation may increase one's risk of premature mortality because it's also linked to depression, bad sleep habits, and cognitive decline. We also know that social support is one of the greatest predictors of people's well-being. Reinforcing that connection is vital to our health. Reaching out, showing up, building community, these are not optional items. These are essential. Many people express feeling concerned about the future of the country, with 75% saying they're more stressed about America's future than they used to be, mostly because they see things like Mamdani getting elected, the first communist ever, first Jew-hating communist ever to be elected to high office in the city where the religion that he represents knocked down the towers. Apparently, they forgot. I still have that poster in my office that says never forget. Well, I haven't forgotten. Anyway, when asked what America represents today, respondents mostly chose terms that reflected a mix of hope and disillusionment. Freedom, 41%. Corruption, 38%. Opportunity, 37%. Division, 36%. Hope, 35%. And fear, 32%. Well, I'm glad that only 32% felt fear. But the point is simply this. Loneliness is a real problem in America. Well, it's a problem around the world, but especially here in America. And so reach out to someone today. Be a friend to someone who may not have a lot of friends. And if you're married, I strongly recommend that you stay that way and find ways to encourage your mate, your life mate, and make that person happy as well. And finally, I have this from the Reverend Wilbur Witt. He said, I am so mentally, spiritually, and emotionally repulsed by the treatment of Erica Kirk by the dredges of our society that I hate every inch of the radical left. The liberals have proven themselves to be the disciples of the devil, and if you buy into that sort of thing, well, what's Jesus waiting for? Rarely has a group of people ever expressed pure evil to the level of the Democrat Party. Legalized sodomy, the murder of millions of unborn children, the molestation of millions more, the ultimate corruption of the basic soul of America, putting a thumb in God's eye at every twist and turn. If the last 30 years have proven nothing else, it has shown you that God has run out of fire and brimstone because the abomination that's called America is still here. Wave a rainbow flag and pass the little girls. All aboard for Epstein Island. And if you people tolerate this, it's because you don't want to get involved. Now you don't have to. New York City anymore? Well, put the Antichrist in the mayor's office. And the BLTs sometimes. Have you ever read the Quran? The Muslims are still operating flight training for ferries. And this attack on Erica Kirk has gone beyond the pale. This woman has done nothing to any of you except for to mourn for her husband and then tried to perpetuate his legacy to be a mother. Not a pronoun, a woman, not even a Whoopi Goldteeth chimed in, don't get me started. Forget about reparations, by the way, Whoopi, because nobody wants to buy you. Erica was thrust into the public eye by circumstance. She didn't want this. Now the alphabet people are trying to say that she planned it. And for what? To destroy her perfect Arizona life, which she already had? And she didn't collapse like any of your pronouns would. She bucked up, she buried her husband Charlie, and dug in. Now all of you perverts, liars, and devil worshippers are unhappy. Well, you're going to be even more unhappy because Donald Trump ain't going anywhere. God bless Erica Kirk, and less so for all of these liars and detractors, even under the third and fourth generation. Is that biblical enough for you? People have been killing babies for years before their first breath. Do you think God had us notice that? Well, he has. Oh, by the way, it's about 2 minutes to midnight. Thank you, Wilbur Witt. See you guys tomorrow. You have a choice, and you chose Freedom 1300.